is get Valiant.
Get Valiant. Number one.
Valiant. Yeah.
What is happening, Eric?
Not a whole heck of a lot. What's going on with you?
Dude, it's, I really, those who are friends with me on Facebook or whatnot may have got this tweet or message out there. I was like, man, 2020 is going to be over. This is going to be great. And then I was thinking, I was like, oh, but then it's going to be 2021, W-O-N, as in 2021. And then to think about that, then it's going to be 2022, T-O-O. Like, dude, we're screwed. 2 more years of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could think of each following year in the decade as a sequel. We had 2020, then we're going to get 2020 Part 1, the re-2020ing, then 2020 Part 2. Like, we're in the prequel of what is going to be the 2020 decade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a weird one. Lots of crazy things happening across the world. Of course, the COVID, the civil unrest, some good movements that are happening, but also, some sad people passing away this year. It seems like it's been one after another, which kind of gets to you. Hoping that this is a new awesome year coming around the corner. And I'm glad we're leaving it with X-O active, live, and running.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, it's a bummer that there were a lot of Valiant comics that were planned for 2020. Going to get Tiger King 2. That's the one thing to look forward to. There were a lot of things that were supposed to come out this year from Valiant that looked like they were going to be amazing, and we didn't get them, and that's a huge, huge bummer. On the plus side, it looks like as we roll into 2021, we're going to be seeing a lot of those comics coming out. And I'm really excited for that. We're going to get Shadow Man. We're going to get Savage. We're going to get more Bloodshot, more X-O Manowar. We're going to eventually see the end of The Visitor. We're going to see what, if anything, that leads into. We're going to get Ninjak and Harbinger. There's a lot of really awesome stuff to look forward to just thinking about Valiant Comics. So, I'm definitely looking forward to the new year and seeing what comes from all of these awesome comics that were being promised. I can't wait.
That's awesome. And then I guess moving on, like right now, like last week, whatever you celebrate, I don't know if you celebrate Christmas or whatnot. Do you have an enjoyable time?
Yeah. Something that was really cool that happened was my baby sister put together Zoom meeting for my mom and all my sisters and me, and 2 of my sisters live on the West Coast and I never see them, and my other 2 sisters who live in Minnesota, I still never see them, especially with COVID going on, and I haven't gotten to talk to my mom in quite a while. So putting together that Zoom call gave an opportunity to kind of reconnect with that part of my family, and like I said, my mom and all my sisters, and because of that and how well it went, we're now doing a weekly, we have scheduled a weekly video conference between all of us. So that's something really cool that came out of this holiday season was reconnecting with my family and having that opportunity to meet with them on a regular basis moving forward. So really excited about that. How about you?
It wasn't bad. It was pretty low key, not a whole lot happening, but it went pretty good. So it was not a lot of family. Don't have family up here in Seattle besides my partner's family, but it was her and I and the kids just hung out and opened gifts and just kind of chilled, and that was pretty much it. Took a week off of work because I had to use it or lose it type of thing. So it's been kind of nice to kind of lounge around for the last couple of days. And 2 weeks ago, I got the first booster shot for the vaccine. So, and I'm still alive. And the only thing that happens is, like I say, is I pee my pants when the microwave goes out. That's the only side effect I've seen that's really noticeable. But as long as you don't want to nuke your food anyway, you just cook it. It's fine, But no, on the real side, it's good. And next week I go in to get the second shot, and hopefully, that's a good sign of the things turning in the right direction. So happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to getting my vaccine whenever it becomes available for normal schlubs like myself. Yeah, so looking forward to that. It's really cool that you were able to get your first round and get your second round soon. Here's a question for you: did you get anything cool for the holiday?
Yeah, I did. Actually, one thing that I got to get is I got a voucher to buy some new editing software, so I'm happy about that piece. So that not necessarily a physical item that I got. A couple books, a couple of things in the background. One that I know that I just got in was a 9.8 Jeff Lemire Descender, #1. So I'm happy about having the new comic book or two here in the house. So some decent things came in. So a couple books. I don't think anything else. A couple shirts. Yes, I did get a new Kraken jersey. Seattle Kraken jersey. That was probably my prize. So
Nice.
One for the new hockey team in Seattle. So what about you?
I didn't get anything for the holiday for Christmas, but my birthday is the day after Christmas. So my spouse got me some Transformers toys. So I'm super stoked about them.
Dude, yes.
I've gotten really big into Transformers since I started playing the Transformers trading card game. So, yeah, I got 3 awesome Transformers for my birthday.
Dude, heck yeah.
Oh, something just happened with your mic and it got way better.
Okay, yeah, it had a little adjustment there. So thank you. That's why I love you guys on the chat. Scott Bloom looking out, got it fixed. You let me know that something was up, so let me look for it. So appreciate that. And, dude, gotta love Transformers. Oh, that's the other thing I got. I got the first 10 volumes of TMNT.
Nice.
The IDW collection. So first 10 volumes. I ordered 11 on my own when I knew I was getting the first 10, and then pre-ordered. So yeah, gonna be doing some TMNT catching up. So I'm super pumped up for that.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm super stoked for you. I haven't read any TMNT comics. I used to watch the cartoon and stuff as a kid, though.
Yeah. The cartoons, and then still one of the highest grossing movies of all time, as far as budget-wise, was the first one, right? The Vanilla Ice, the first one that was not expected to do all that great. Killed it in the box office. Pretty low budget, but it worked. The campiness worked so good in that. So, yeah, super pumped up for that. And yeah, I think it was some really damn good things that are around the corner as far as the world, hopefully within more comics, hopefully with Comic-Cons, and then Sean says he's kind of not enjoying Valiant very much anymore. I hope that changes. I hope something happens. I hope there's a book or two that, if it's a book or two, I'm not expecting them to hit home runs or to have everything be on everybody's pull list, but hopefully there's something. So,
yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is, not everything is going to be for everybody, and it's unfortunate. I know Sean is saying Valiant comics are the only ones he collects anymore, and like Hooser said, hopefully one of the new books coming out grabs you. Whether that's maybe Shadow Man, maybe Shadow Man is one that'll grab you. Maybe Harbinger will turn out to be up your alley. We'll see. We'll see what comes out. One I'm really excited for is Final Witness because it's a why am I blanking on their names?
Jeremy Hahn and Ray Fox.
Yeah, they're doing it, but it's a story in the style of Brubaker and Phillips.
Oh,
Brubaker, Phillips, and Brightweiser.
That crime noir type feel. Yeah.
If anybody's read Criminal, you know how great that team is.
Killer Be Killed.
Yeah,
that's still one of my tops, man. Love it. And if that's the case, that's great. And I love Jeremy Hahn's art. So,
yeah, and if you look at the art that's been released for Final Witness, it's not like a knockoff of Sean Phillips's art, but it does look like it's in that style. It's in that same genre as far as the art goes. And if the storytelling is in the same genre with the superhero flavor added in, I am so on board with that. I'm so on board with that. So hopefully other people enjoy it. Hopefully, Sean, you find something that really piques your interest. That's all we can hope. But either way, whether you're enjoying the comics or not, Sean, that we always appreciate your feedback, your interest, and participating in our podcast with us. So at the very least, we're happy that you're still around.
Yeah, definitely. And it does stink sometimes when they are rebooted. The continuity is not connecting. It gets to be stressful because you've invested in it, right? And I think that's part of it, is you've invested in these stories, and that's one reason why I heard a lot of people got into Valiant, is because it was so new. We came back out in 2012, and they wanted something without having to read since 1970. But maybe that's going to bring out a new group that's going to come into Valiant, because it is new continuity, new fresh, but I think I still hope that they service the fans that are here, that have stuck by it for since the 90s. But a lot of them since 2012, 2013 have kind of stuck by it. So hopefully there's still some fan service being happening. And we kind of look at it. So
my perspective on the whole reboot claim is that I don't think this new X-O series is any more of a reboot than the Matt Kindt X-O series was. And, because Matt Kindt came onto X-O and he just told his own story. He started it at his own starting point where he wanted it to be, and he told the story he wanted to tell in the world that he wanted to tell it in. And not until several issues in did we even see it tie back to the Venditti run, which is kind of the gold standard for X-O Manowar books, in my opinion. So I feel like we got to give this a chance. Is the current X-O Manowar run, does it feel like it draws directly from the previous runs? No, it doesn't. But that's no different than what Kindt did, and there's no reason to think that, it couldn't still tie back as the series goes on. Will it? I have no idea. But I'm willing to give it that chance. And honestly, at the end of the day, as much as I love continuity and I love the interconnectedness of the Valiant universe, even if this isn't going to connect to anything else, even if it didn't, if it's a good comic, I still want to read it.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to for me. I'm a fan of Valiant because they put out good comics, in my opinion. And and I mean, obviously, we'll get into our thoughts specifically on this issue, because we'll be talking about this new X-O Manowar issue that just came out last week.
And there's certain continuity pieces that we will call out, or at least I will call out, that aren't good to keeping those continuity pieces that kind of happened in this recent issue. And so that's kind of what we do here, though, is hopefully, we try to call it, evenly. We try to call it as kind of a non-bias, even though we are biased because we are Valiant fans. But
we just try to be honest with our opinions.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, some of us like things more than others. Sometimes we all enjoy a book a lot. We've had that happen definitely many times. But there have also been times when I've really enjoyed a book and Hooser hasn't. And sometimes, and we've had times specifically where the thing that made me love the comic is the very thing that Hooser decided was not for him and made the comic less enjoyable. And
I would love to say you're wrong about that, but you're right about that.
Yeah. And that's, we're not going to all enjoy the same things,
And you know what the thing is, when I mean by you're right and I'm right, is we're both right about that. There's no wrong for that, something that I didn't like, something wrong that you liked it. And I think that's kind of important, is keeping that to where it's like, hey, we're allowed to like something and not like something, and kind of just, still be cool. That's just the kind of the thing that it has to be. So we'll get there. So, I mean, moving into news, any Valiant news that you have seen or heard about in the last couple days, weeks?
Nothing jumps out at me. I don't know. I'm just waiting for March's comic to be announced.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's I'm hoping we're finally getting the Visitor back, and I think I think my theory is that the Visitor is going to fall into either the Final Witness or Harbinger, and that's kind of why it's been delayed to get those last 2 issues out. But yeah, I'm excited to get that solicit ready, right? So that way those are coming out because that should be happening soon.
Fingers crossed.
Yep, Dr. Tomorrow trade came out. I'm glad I saw Scott Bloom got a hold of that. So I hope you enjoy that, Scott. I hope you get into that because we enjoyed the crap out of that one. So
yeah, Dr. Tomorrow to me feels like one of those, and I know I've said this many times, but it's like the Valiant. It's a high watermark for me. There's like the Valiant and Secret Weapons, Dr. Tomorrow. Those are all just like top of the heap as far as Valiant comics for me. Maybe you could put, for me, you could put Bloodshot Reborn up on that pedestal.
Yeah. Before I would put Dr. Tomorrow there just yet is seeing what comes out of it. That was kind of one of the beautiful things about the Valiant, thinking about that. That one ushered in so many great stories after that. So I think that's one that puts that one still up towards the top for me because that brought in Bloodshot Reborn, which was beautiful and such a smooth transition. Secret Weapons could have done something, but then that was in the middle of 2018. We all know what that whole thing happened with Harbinger Wars 2, but that could have been beautiful with Secret Weapons. That was a perfect spike and ready to happen. But yeah, no, it's up there. It's up there as one of the ones that you kind of look back because I do thought that was a good origin story to get Dr. Tomorrow into the universe in a way that worked. So
I just saw Omar's comment. What would spice up X-O would be a Tiger King Charlie Sheen crossover.
That would be good. I'm trying to think, how would you get that Whitaker character to be a Charlie Sheen? So.
No, he would know Charlie Sheen, and then Charlie Sheen would come in, and then Charlie Sheen would be on the hunt for Tiger Blood and would come upon Joe Exotic. It writes itself, man.
and then Art comes across Carol Baskin's ex-husband's bones, and they try to solve it.
I think Carol Baskin's husband fled the country.
Oh.
So I don't think she's a murderer. Is she weird as hell? Absolutely.
Maybe he ran off with Toyo Harada and they're, in that whole thing with Imperium.
Yeah, dude. He's a psyop.
Yep. That's it. So.
Oh man. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, so Scott got his Dr. Tomorrow. Got to him real quick, it sounds like. Mixed Tiger King and Savage, you could do that.
Oh yeah.
Sean, we're probably 3 or 4 issues from an X-O bike appearance. I don't know. I could see that happening. Would I be mad about it? Probably not.
Hopefully it's just not an invisible plane because that thing bombed. I don't know if we want to talk non-Valiant, but I mean, can we talk about the horrible Wonder Woman 84?
I don't want.
Okay. Well, save your time.
I've heard from some people that it was really good, and I've heard from others that it was terrible. So I don't know what to think, and I'm going to watch it eventually and form my own opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely do it. So that's mine, though.
Black Manta's calling me out, saying, "What's up? What is up with you?" I'm not exactly sure who that is. Probably somebody that knows me.
Cool name, cool image.
Yeah, Black Manta is awesome.
Yeah.
The X-O bike. So do we go ahead and get into this new X-O issue?
That's the first time we did it right. I mean, it didn't even cut you off. I'm slow with the trigger there. We're gonna spoil the crap out of X-O Manowar number 3. And I don't know if you're drinking the Ninja Turtle ooze because that thing is just like shiny crazy. Look at that. It's the ooze, the secret. Oh, Diet Dew. Okay, don't drink Diet Dew, guys. It makes you glow. We heard about that before. and having Harbinger Wars. I'm just having a bubble. Merry Christmas. But yeah, dude, we're going to talk about some X-O Manowar. What did we have? Who did we have on this? Dennis Hopeless Hellum is writing it. Why am I brain farting on the name? Emilio Lasso doing the art. Ruth Redmond doing the colors.
Oh, Ruth Redmond, man. I had never heard that name before she came onto this book, and that's a travesty because she is phenomenal. Emilio Lasso too, also really, really good. And one thing that I like is that we're starting to get some of these characters fleshed out, and get some more like intimate moments. I don't know. I think that's cool. But this issue, a lot happens in this issue. So much happens in this issue that some people might have run across an ad and thought that was the end of the issue.
I did that, but I'm glad we were talking in the middle of this a little bit. We got on a little early and pre-chatted because there was the part right before the Bloodshot ad where he suddenly, both Sean Hara and X-O, decide to completely trust in Whitaker. That's a little bit jumping the gun on kind of how the story went, though. But he's basically doing Superman acts, and he's trying to rerun the lava to save lives, and he's doing public acts of service, which are good deeds. Everybody should do a public act of service just to do it for the kindness out of their heart. But it's a little different, out of place for Arik a little bit, but definitely in this PR realm that they're trying to make him into a famous superhero.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this guy in his ear telling him basically to, Whitaker is telling him to be a PR machine and, go out there and make good PR so that when he takes down a supervillain, he doesn't get blamed for the destruction that gets caused. And, X-O's going along with it because he thinks that it'll serve his ultimate end of making the world a better place. But, one moment that really stuck out to me that I enjoyed a lot is when Whitaker's like, oh, this rich guy lives near the forest fire that you're fighting, so maybe you go save that mansion. And X-O's like, well, I did not come here to save mansions. And I thought that was awesome because he's there to actually help the people that need help, not just serve the rich, And I'm a fan of that mentality personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's like going against the Romans to a degree. Having the big get bigger. That was cool. But then they're sitting around the coffee table, and Sean Hara is now a video game for the boy. Take that as you may. So
Sean Hara is this like crazy advanced technological marvel, and one of Sean Hara's abilities is to channel technology from around the world, and she is using it to entertain the boy that they're living with, that X-O Arik is living with. One moment in the issue that was crazy to me is, Arik is going to fight this forest fire, and then suddenly a nanite swarm shows up, and it starts gaining power, and it's going to eat Sean Hara, and Arik is going to die, and he's trying to fight it, but he can't, and he can't do anything against it until he lets Whitaker take over and remake Sean Hara, and then he's able to defeat this swarm of nanobots. My crazy theory here is that Whitaker created that swarm of nanobots so that he would have an excuse for Sean Hara to let down her defenses, let Whitaker in, and get a backdoor into Sean Hara's programming. So that's my prediction of where that's going to go. But the immediate result was that we got a really cool new design of Sean Hara. And some people may not enjoy the new design, but I personally did. I thought it looked really cool with the red added on. Yeah.
So all of that, it's interesting because you're really wanting to see who triggered that nanite monster. Is it the warlord they're talking about? Is he in cahoots with Whitaker? What's Whitaker's still plan? I've always thought that Shanhara was a lot smarter than what it's being played off to be. Arik has always been a lot less trusting of people, especially because of the things that have happened to him. To let alone allow Whitaker to basically be guiding his moves the way he is, to alone to allow them to go into the tech. And so here's part of continuity that really stinks. Livewire's been in that suit. Livewire's had full access to it. I figured that she would have been able to unlock it, hidden powers, extra powers, or at least had some dialogue why she couldn't do it. And so I thought this piece basically puts her down like she's less because of this. And it just happened like that. So quick. Oh, I'm in it. I could enhance it so fast. I wasn't a fan of that.
To me, I get what you're coming from, but to me, like, this was, in my opinion, Whitaker engineering a scenario where Arik and Shanhara would let down their defenses and willingly allow Whitaker into the suit. When Livewire was trying to hack into the suit, it was against the will of Arik and Shanhara, right? Like, Livewire was an adversary at the time. You know, they're looking at Whitaker as a friend and saying, yeah, okay, we'll let down our firewall and let you in and let you mess with the technology. So to me, that makes sense. I don't see that as a inconsistency. My opinion. Just my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess just to have them go through and rewrite Shanhara's DNA and to have it that quick, and it you know, it's just, I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I just feel like that was a little quick to trust, a little quick to change in such a scenario. I think it may have kind of jumped quickly. I think it could have led up to that down the road. And that's just that. It's not necessarily saying it's bad. I was just saying that did an injustice to Livewire in what she had connecting with Shanhara. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Sean is coming from the perspective that as far as this new series is concerned, none of that ever happened. You know, Livewire never did that. Unity never happened. X-O was never working for the U.S. military or Gate. You know, so his perspective is that this is a complete reboot and none of that previous continuity counts. I don't think I would go that far. And this isn't going to be a surprise that I'm going to give Valiant the benefit of the doubt. I am well known as a bit of a homer. And, you know, so be that as it may, just from my perspective, in my opinion, I think that this new series doesn't reference the old continuity on a regular basis, but I don't think it directly contradicts the previous continuity. Is it different? Absolutely, it's different. 100%. Right. I will not argue that for a second. But the degree to which it's different, I think some people have different opinions on.
Yeah, I mean, it is a new run, and there is going to be some things that don't transfer over. I get that. You know, I mean, when I look at it outside of that, right, I thought it was okay. I thought the story was pretty good. I'm digging Lasso's art. I think it's great. Redmond's colors look pretty solid. You know, on that piece, that's good. So there's, yeah, like I said, there's just some piece of continuity that if it was in continuity, I think would improve it. I would like it a little bit more, but I'm not saying I dislike it.
Oh, what was I just going to say? I completely lost my train of thought because I was reading comments. Omar Rodriguez is saying, like, this could be a Grant Morrison thing where all that other stuff happened and this is a lead up to an event, and then in the event they all find out they're missing 5 years of memory and, you know, like they don't remember that stuff happened or something. I think that's unlikely, but and as Todd says, me, a homer? Referencing myself. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's the comment. Erica Homer? Maybe a bit. Yeah, I
there's worse things to be called, buddy.
Like, Honestly, the first time I got called a homer, I was a little bit offended because I was like, I have my own opinions. But at the same time, like I think about it now, and fine. I mean, if you want to look at me that way, I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. If you disagree with me and, you're feeling like Sean, and I think Sean's perspective is completely valid, as much as I might have a different opinion than him, I think his perspective is completely valid. And if you're coming from that point of view and you hear someone like myself spouting how great everything is and how Valiant can do no wrong, then I totally think it's valid to call me a homer. I don't begrudge anyone who has that opinion of me. I would just say that, I'm coming from an honest place, and I'm going to call things like I see them. And I just really tend to like a lot of the things that Valiant is doing. Here's the one thing that I'll say about this comic, or one of the things I want to say about this comic, is that it does feel different than a lot of other Valiant comics. I think one thing Valiant has done really well from 2012, especially through the Dinesh years, one thing Valiant did really, really well is making every comic feel like the world outside your window plus just a little twist. And I don't think, I feel like this comic is less world outside your window and more straight up superhero comic. Now, if you're coming to Valiant just for that world outside your window feel and that depth of continuity, totally understand why you're not going to enjoy this comic. If you're willing to take this book on its own merits, it's trying to be a fun, big, bombastic superhero comic. If you're willing to accept that, and then I think you can have a lot of fun with this book. And that's where I'm personally coming from. I'm going to look at it like I'm not going to judge this X-O comic based on my preconceived notions of what an X-O comic should be. I'm going to judge this X-O comic based on what I think it's trying to be. And I think it achieves what it's trying to be remarkably well. And that's where my positive outlook comes from.
Well, I'm glad you got the positive outlook, man. And I think there's to my thought is no one should have to defend whether they like it or dislike it. It is their opinion. It is good to kind of have some things that you're pointing out and that you're seeing that you like, seeing some things that you dislike. But I think when you look at it, it has changed, right? And it's not the same arc. It's not the same, it is totally different. But yet that doesn't mean that, we may not enjoy that because that's the arc that we don't, we knew and we loved. It changes. But, let something grow on you, give it a chance, give it an opportunity. And I know that's the way a lot of people thought about Kent's run at first with the first, 2 or 3 arcs. Then later on, when they actually got back to Earth, they kind of revealed why he was there, why he was in Goran. They revealed a lot there, but then you come back and I enjoyed the space scenes there. That was one that I really liked a lot, but it wasn't quite the same arc that you got from Venditti. So there was some changes that happened there. But I would say I really want to see what the long story is planned for X-O. Want to see what this new character is. Get really unravel the villain, because I really feel like we need to have the villain have the villain change, and get some great villains within Valiant, because I believe that's something that's been missing. There's a handful, but not necessarily a good rogues, gallery, as you would say. And I think that's something that needs to build up, because you're only as good as your foe type of thing, as far as a superhero, world of comics with formidable foes, with some great plans. And, I like that we got a couple people in here. We got Whitaker, we got the warlord, forget his name. But I think there's potential there with people directed, and not necessarily just at a gate, or not necessarily a gate, but like a PRS, a Omen. And it's not these these factions of things. It's more along the lines of individual people. Because I don't know, I just feel like that gets some great stories, some great plans, some great connections. And so I'm hoping, and I see that there's a start of that with this book.
So I think Todd makes a good point. This book could go in two directions. It could end up being like the Kent run, where it eventually ties back to previous continuity and everything connects, or it could be something else. And I'm willing to hang on and find out. Yeah, yep. There you go. On screen is the exact comment that I'm talking about from Todd. I think he brings up a great point, and it definitely could go either way. I just think since we don't know yet which way it's going to go, I say we give it a chance, and I understand if other people don't feel the same way.
Yep. It's kind of like being a Cleveland Browns fan. You go for the football game, stay for the cheerleaders. It changes up a little bit. So we may be here for a certain thing, and something else might happen outside of it that really catches our attention, and we enjoy it.
Being a Vikings fan, right? A Minnesota Vikings fan.
You go for the football, stay for the beer?
No, you watch the game for the 2 quarters of the game where they seem like a really good football team. You don't watch it for the other 2 quarters when they seem like a team who's never seen a football before.
Well, I hope something changes, and it's I'm using the sports themes that it's a team that comes from behind, it's the underdog, and they prevail at the end versus the other scenarios we've used where they've sadly just dismantled and were very unsuccessful. So hopefully we get something that is visible of success, and we continue seeing more. So, but let's score this thing up. What are you thinking?
So for me, this is a really good comic. Is it my favorite X-O comic? No, it's not. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not. It doesn't have the feel of the Venditti stuff. I'll 100% agree to that. I do, however, think it's better than the Kent run, especially to this point. Like, we're 3 issues into this, and I'm enjoying this more than I enjoyed the first 3 issues of the Kent run. So if we're comparing apples to apples in that sense, I think it's better. However, if we're looking at the first 3 issues of the Venditti run, I think we're night and day. I think the Venditti run is worlds better. So, I think from that historical perspective, it kind of fits in the middle of where X-O Manowar runs have been up to this point since the 2012 reboot. And, I don't want to judge this book on what may or may not happen in the future, so I want to be very honest about it. One thing that is really going well for this book is the art. The art is phenomenal. Lyso is doing amazing pages, and Ruth is coloring them like you would hope from a seasoned professional. This just looks really, really good. So I think the art is phenomenal, and I think the story is getting going well, but we still need to see where it goes. For me, this comes in better than middle of the road at a 3.75.
That's actually lower than I thought you were going to give it. But and when you really look at it, when you really look at books side by side, sometimes when you're thinking of a 5, you really put up a book right next to it and kind of compare it with story, with art, with all those pieces, and think about your very favorite issue there ever was. That gets to be hard to kind of set up, but you're right on that. The art is hitting every point there, both with colors and with the pencils and inks. The story, the dialogue is good. I don't believe it's arc, but it is good, right? So I'm trying to get over that. I'm trying to look past of Venditti. I'm trying to look past that. But it's hard, right? Because you had however many issues, 50-something issues The majority of X-O Manowar has been right there. So that's where the big change is. I did like Kent's run myself. I enjoyed the art that was part of it because of Tomas. I loved that, and Diego Rodriguez I thought did a great job on that. But this has been good. Still early in the arc. I don't know how long the arcs are going to be, so that kind of weighs a little bit different. Because I know before we knew that there were going to be 3-issue arcs, 4-issue arcs. We kind of got idea of the arc timing. Here we're not so much into that. So this could be, the end of the first arc. I don't know, and we could be moving to something else. But ultimately, I still think it's good. I think it's a solid C plus. What would that be, a 3.5? And
you're right there with Scott Bloom.
Yeah. So I'm right there with that, but it can still go somewhere. The hard part is, you had writers like Kent that had it before that had some equity. I don't know Dennis Holloman. I don't know much of his previous story writing, so I don't know the equity there. So there is a little bit of on trust there, to be honest. But when you had somebody who's been around like Kent, you had some story, some equity, even if it wasn't great that first couple issues, that first arc, you kind of had some equity and you knew where it was. You knew it was going to eventually be told. And that was also with Warren. There was some knowing of Warren there with what Warren was doing with his storytelling. And so I guess giving that opportunity to trust it, that they were going to hopefully get something, because I think we've only had one real book that Heather Antos has put together, and that was Quantum and Woody so far. A lot of her stuff, I think she jumped on towards the end of Livewire, and then it's been Quantum and Woody, and now we have X-O. And so I'm hoping that, they're hopefully.
I don't know what happened, but I think we just lost Hooser. Yeah, I don't know.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I hope there's some gained equity of these creators, of this editing team, to have stories closed out and we get full ongoing pieces.
So I think I one thing that I did like about Valiant in the past is that we had writers who worked on broad swaths of the universe. And we had, people like Kent who wrote tons and tons of material, and we felt like they were really invested in the Valiant universe as a whole. So when they took on a new project, it was really easy to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think about Venditti writing X-O as unbelievably well as he did, and then jumping into Book of Death as a follow-up to the Valiant, and then carrying that through to Wrath of the Eternal Warrior. We're looking at somebody who has invested years of his life into the Valiant universe, and bringing him onto a new book. It's like, okay, we really get that you care and you've invested yourself in this. So we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're going to invest yourself into this new story that you're trying to tell with a new character. And that's why I've been such a big advocate for having Dan Abnett write more of the Valiant universe, because we've seen him come into the Rye part of the Valiant universe, the 4002 AD, and just knock it out of the park consistently. Just give us amazing issue after amazing issue. Mm-hmm. And luckily they've paired him with such phenomenal art teams that it's looked as good as the story has come across. So if we could get somebody like him where we can say, like, okay, you've invested a year or two into the Valiant universe, what else do you have to say? What other toys do you have to bring to the table in this sandbox? And I think we're getting a lot of writers who are telling their one little story, and I don't mean little to sound diminutive. I just mean like Tim Seeley has come in and written a great Bloodshot story, in my opinion. But we don't see him being more deeply involved in the Valiant universe. Whereas when Jeff Lemire came in, he was helping to write The Valiant, which was this huge epic spanning the entirety of the Valiant universe. And then he spun it off into, his solo character book and did amazing work on Bloodshot. So I just would like to see someone, whether it's Dennis Hallam or Dan Abnett or
Colin Bond, Ray Fox, some of these future guys that are coming around the corner. I completely agree with you on that. Yeah. That I hope that we can get those familiar names and maybe some old familiar names come back with certain stories. You had me on there. You had me thinking on there, dang it. And just getting people to play in the sandbox, getting people to figure out their full stories is going to be huge. I think that is going to be big when it comes to it. That we get some produced stories, that we get people that have gotten to kind of know the universe a little bit more, get it more in depth, and kind of get the stories that I hope this comes out. I hope this changes. I would like to work with this one, and they get some love that's found within it. So it sounds like, from what I heard, it sounds like the guys who are taking over Harbinger, forgive me, I forget their names, but those guys seem like they have enjoyed Valiant for some time. So hoping that there's something to happen there with Harbinger, and hoping for the best, I guess, is the kind of the big piece there. Hoping for the best and kind of trying to hopefully get a place where these characters can still thrive.
You know who I would really love to see write more of the Valiant universe? Justin Jordan.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if anybody's read Reaver, but if you bring Justin Jordan into the Valiant universe, I think that he could tell some amazing, huge, epic stories. Like, he could write Unity, and it would be phenomenal.
I like Sideways. I like Curse of the Brimstone.
Sideways was so fun.
Yep.
Curse of the Brimstone was awesome, but Sideways was better.
Yeah. Well, and then he's done some really cool things in the past. I loved Luther Strode. That's going to be a show soon too. Try finding those books there for you. Been on the hunt for the hardcover of that. But yeah, I agree. And there's probably, we can name a bunch of writers that we'd want to touch base back, either come back or to come to over to Valiant. And I hope that piece happens. That's what I was going to say is, we had Lemire, and, even the way that things ended with Lemire, there was lots of splintered pieces, lots of loose ends. And I think that was one of the frustrating things people had with Bloodshot, with Seeley coming back, because there were so many loose ends and it felt like they weren't really answered, or, they were kind of left aside, with Magic and Jesse, with Rampage out there now, Scarred Man out there, Omen there. And yet we're getting next arc is going to be PRS has returned. So there's starting to be a lot of loose ends within that. And there's so many pieces there that, like, why would you not want to touch base? Why would you not want to play with those? Why would you not want to, to have, there's lots of story possibilities and connections there that, I mean, ideally would love to have Lemire back and kind of clear up some of those loose ends that he had planned on working on, or have him co-write, or just kind of plot it out with somebody and have some of that done. So
all we can do is wait and see. Hopefully we get some good comics. Like I said before, I'm super excited for Final Witness. I think that is something that's going to be right up my alley. I'm really excited to see where the new Shadow Man goes. Shadow Man looks like it's going to be amazing. Cullen Bunn knows how to write horror, and the art from John Davis Hunt looks like it's going to be phenomenal. Really looking forward to that. I'm curious to see how much I enjoy Savage. I'm not really sure from what I've seen so far. Same with Ninjak. Ninjak looks like it's going to go in an interesting new direction, and it could be really good, or it could fall flat. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Only time will tell. I'm really curious to see how this new arc of Bloodshot feels with Wiggins and KT involved in the comics. They were so amazing in the movie, and I really need to watch the movie again. I only saw it like 10 times. So,
Dude, and that's probably the one I'm least excited for is the Ninjak. And I'm excited for Jeff Parker being on it, the writer. It's just that art I haven't been bought on the art yet. That's probably the one that I'm the one I'm not looking forward to because of the art.
wait, which one? Which one are you talking about?
Ninjak.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from there. The art that I've seen so far hasn't really like grabbed me, but we also haven't seen color art for it yet. So
then again, though, I'm contradicting. But the professionals that I've seen that have talked about it have really praised this artist. What's his name? It's Juan. I'm gonna hate myself for forgetting it. Polito, yeah. So. Yeah, and so I've heard a lot of people praising him, so that's cool. I'll take that. So we'll have something coming in the near future with that. So I am happy to see Colin King back. I mean, period. However we get him, it's one of those ones I'd rather have him, on doing a book, even if it's not my type of book. At least it's out there.
yeah. Hopefully we find out soon, as Todd is calling for. Hopefully we find out soon when all of these books are coming out. Some of them have release dates attached to them. Some of them do not. And I would love to know sooner rather than later exactly what's coming out when. But all we can do is wait. All we can do is wait and see.
And go to your LCSs. I just went by a place today to just, socially distant, but yet still go to the store because I wanted to. I needed to get out, and it was closed down. It was a store I didn't frequent much, but I would go there a couple times a year, and they were now closed in a highly traffic area too, which is kind of interesting. But so that's at least 3 stores within a 10-mile range of me that have closed down. So.
Yeah, I mean, we've harped on this before. If you want comics to come out and you want comic stores to stay open, pre-order your books. As much as you can, go to the shop and pre-order your books. Let them know what you want to read. And whether it's Valiant or not, pre-order your books and make sure that you show up and buy them. And I've been having my local comic shop ship books to me, let them build up for a little bit and then pay him to ship them to me.
And Javier Polito was that name I was looking for earlier.
Javier Polito, that's what it is.
So Javier Polito, and let me do this. Everybody asked to get the Valiant books that are coming. I know we're getting 2 books in 1 week in January. What do you think about that? What? I won't know what to do with myself.
If only books were coming
every week.
Every week. And then on top of that, there were 2 books in a week. That would be amazing. But it is what it is. We'll read the books as they come out and just keep crossing our fingers for more.
That's right. So January is starting off, book number 3 of Bloodshot, the complete series of Psylord. So what is that? All 8 issues, I believe it was, coming there. Harbinger Wars 2 Deluxe. I know that was set to come out back in like August. So that's finally happening. Then, like you talked a little bit about Bloodshot number 10. Oh, so it is separate. They are going to come. They actually did go in and change it because they did have both Bloodshot and X-O coming out on the 27th, but they will not be coming out. They will be coming out separate. Getting the right book on the 20th. X-O's coming back the last week of January again. So that's pretty cool. And the one we've all been waiting for, Bloodshot Rising Spirits, coming back. That's one that I've kind of been in the back of my mind as the biggest oops. And I don't think we've gotten to that bar. I don't think we've hit the floor that hard since then. So that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about high water marks, and unfortunately, there are some low water marks. And
Yeah. And then Savage on the 17th. So, and then Bloodshot again. So we won't have X-O in February, or at least it's not, and it doesn't look like he's set for March either. So looks like we're going to get him a couple arcs at a time. So I bet you issue number 4 is the end of the first arc.
I would assume that is the case with X-O Book 1 coming out in April.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, all we can do is wait and see exactly what happens with these books as they come out. We'll find out, and it's entirely possible that their arcs are going to be staggered so that they're only putting out a few books a month. 2 to 3 books a month may be the norm for a while now. We'll find out and just hope for the best quality that we can get. How are sales? Sean is asking. I have no idea. I've never been one to follow sales numbers. All I do is read comics and determine for myself whether or not I like them. I don't know where you would even find those. I think Josh knows a little bit more about sales numbers than us other two.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Know kind of where to look and where to find. But if you look at Chromacron, and this is October sales is the most recent that they have up there. This doesn't speak too highly. Overall shares, Valiant's not even on the board. They're within this 3% of other. So, I mean, they're getting beat out by Random House and Archie and Aftershock and even Titan Comics. So, Vault's coming out hard. Vault's got quite a bit of books coming out. So, it's yeah. I don't know if that answers your question, but that is one of it. I know that the numbers are very weird since DC kind of pulled off and did their DC thing. I don't know where they pull all the numbers out off of this, but this is kind of where they're set right now. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see what the future brings. We'll be here to review books and give our honest opinions. And hopefully people will join us. We've had Todd and Black Manta and Sean Hayes and Scott Bloom hanging out. Omar Rodriguez hanging out with us as well. We're always definitely happy to, have people join us and talk about these comics and give us your honest feedback. Whether you're like Sean and you feel like we're in a dull spot for Valiant and you're not enjoying the books as much as you hope you would be, or you're like me and you really feel like Valiant is still putting out quality content, or somewhere in the middle on that spectrum, we definitely welcome your voice as part of the conversation that we have on this podcast. We, like I said, appreciate everyone who joins us and puts their 2 cents in, and hopefully we'll see you guys all next time. This has been Get Valiant number 180, I think.
181.
Well, it says number 180, so I don't know.
Then I put it in there incorrect.
Well, somebody better.
Somebody fix that. So, yeah 181.
Like Todd said, we've got all these different people in here with their own opinions, and it's much better than an echo chamber. And that's what I like about this podcast as far as us three, the hosts that we have, myself, Hooser, and Josh. We all have our own opinions, and we can butt heads sometimes and have different feelings on the books. And then we also get other people coming in and bringing their own opinions. And it's a lot better than all just sitting around and saying, I like this book. And everyone else saying, I also like this book. That would get really boring. So, like I said, really appreciate everyone putting their 2 cents in and joining us.
We hope you guys like it. So make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, doing all that fun things. And this is for some. All right.
All right. We'll see you guys all next time. Thank you for joining us at Get Valiant. And everybody stay valiant and have a happy new year.
All right. See y'all later.